Senior reporter James André is with us here on set. James, we were talking slightly ironically, almost laughing about this earlier on. Of course, all the parties, aren't they, are claiming they've won here.
Yes, absolutely they are. But if you actually look into it, it's not that obvious. I'd say, if you wanted to designate winners and losers, I think you could arguably say that starting from the right, the National Rally has indeed crept forward quite strongly, actually, if you look at the fact that they've actually managed to take control of Nice, which is a very big city that they have with Éric Ciotti, who was a former Les Républicains member, who is, the big advocate when it comes to trying unifying the right wing, if you like, of the conservative Les Républicains party with the National Rally. And so, yes, he wins in Nice, but Nice has long been a right-wing stronghold, and, it was actually between him and Christian Estrosi, who's another figure of the, I'd say, harder right here in France. But yes, they have crept forward. They've got 3,000 members of their party elected to functions in the municipalities here in France. That is double what they did in 2014, 2020 being a bit of a, special year because of COVID. So yes, they are moving forward, creeping forward. They are implementing themselves inside the country, very much in the south of the country, but also where there were mines in the north. And that does mean that they are, very much creating a generation of politicians that will be, will have high responsibility in office later on down the line. And so there we are. You could say that also the Les Républicains party can claim victory because they've managed to take control of what were really some of the left's historic strongholds, especially in the middle of France. Clermont-Ferrand, where I come from, for example, that is a big deal. It was under socialist control for 80 years. You've got Limoges, you've got Brest, you've got, a group of cities, I'd say medium cities, that are very important and that are showing that this party, which was, looking very eaten up on its right side by the National Rally, is still very much there, alive and kicking. And there is an opportunity down the line for, later elections. Then we have the left wing, Socialist Party. I mean, if you take the center, I would say, is one of the parties that really kind of lost here. They only managed to gain control of one major city, which is Bordeaux. It is a major city, but they're not doing very well across the board, really, if you look at the situation. Then you have the center-left or left-wing Socialist Party and their allies. So they managed to hang on to the three big cities here in France, Paris, Lyon, Marseille. Of course, that is a big deal. But they've lost a lot of medium-sized cities to Les Républicains. So it's not great. And then you have France Unbowed, who is indeed claiming victory. Now, they have taken some important cities, including Saint-Denis, for example, right here next to Paris. But if you look at it, they're not doing as well as expected. So in all fairness, if you look, you have, I'd say, winners and losers, broad strokes, National Rally, Les Républicains, Socialist Party, and centre and far left not doing so well.
So just time to ask you, James, where does that leave us for the presidentials in a year's time?
So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in days to come. Now, the first meeting, or the first important moment, will be Les Républicains, who are having a national bureau tomorrow, who are going to choose what their strategy is to come up with a front-runner. And what they've been saying yesterday on French television, and pretty much all the programs, is we need unity, we need to broaden our coalition. And that could go, there's only two ways, either towards the right with the National Rally, and that seems off the cards, or I'd say more to the centre. And indeed, we have in Le Havre, the former Prime Minister of Emmanuel Macron, help me here, I'm sorry.
Edouard Philippe.
Thank you very much.
Is the name you're after.
Yesterday, Edouard Philippe, who actually was elected, and that sounds very good for him, for his Horizon group. And that could be indeed a way of broadening towards the left. Then we have the Socialist Party, who have validated the fact that alliances with France Unbowed have actually become rather toxic. Now, they're going to have some sort of primary in October. That will be, something everyone will be scrutating to see who will actually come up as frontrunner, because it's totally unclear. And what has really appeared is deep divisions between, the big parties on the left. The centre needs to find some sort of frontrunner or something, because it's not looking very good right now. But, to the big question, I'd say, if you want to make it really short, the far right has done rather well, but probably not as well as expected. There is a big block to the centre which is up for grabs. The far left has kind of collapsed. Not collapsed, but not done very, very well. So what it goes to show is that, no, this is not going to be a duel against the two extreme right and left parties. It is going to be there's going to be a lot to play for at the centre, and that is interesting for 2027.
Wish